Hey everybody, it's Rabbi Denise here, Shabbat Shalom. I am once again by a lake, a new lake. It's behind me. I don't know if you can tell that that's water, and I'm standing on top of a hill because I don't have much of a signal here, so I'm trying my very best to make it work, doing a Shabbat Live. So I wanted to chat with you all. Last week, if you didn't see my Shabbat Live, it was about work-life balance. And I'm still thinking a lot about that. And this week I wanted to sort of follow up and say I put in a ton of work time. I sat down and I kind of did like a month's worth of work in 3 days. And that's my style. That's not everybody's style, but I'm a work sprinter. And that means I jam a lot in and then I need a lot of downtime. So if a typical work day for me, if I'm trying to put in like what a normal person would call 8 hours of work, I probably do 2 sprints of like 2 to 3 hours and then like watch a movie in the middle of the day or go for a long bike ride or something like that. So that's how I work best. I don't like some people spread it out more, so they'll kind of like check email and check Facebook and go, do that kind of thing while they're working. I try to really focus in and then move on. I'm holding up an O magazine. If you haven't seen it, this is the first time that Oprah dedicated a cover to somebody who isn't Oprah. And it's Breonna Taylor. And I'm sure people have been following the way that Breonna Taylor was murdered and the fact that the police officers who did it haven't been held to account, arrested, or anything else. And this whole magazine, I want to tell you, is so worthwhile. It has so many excellent tips for actually acting on racial justice, so I really recommend picking it up. I always read O Magazine when I'm on vacation. It's my guilty pleasure, but this one is less of a guilty pleasure and more of actually just like it feels like good work to read it because I'm getting some great ideas for allyship. And so that's kind of my follow-up to the work-life balance thing. I've been finding this week, so I put in those really hard work days and then I came to a cottage with my family. You can maybe hear them screaming in the background. And I'm just really enjoying that type of work-life balance now where I really like work really hard and then take a solid break. But sometimes I'm also noticing that it's fun to kind of sneak some work stuff in. So I've been, Secular Synagogue has new commitments on anti-racism, but I consider it part of my work all the time. Part of the stuff I was doing this week was creating a training for the faculty I work with where I teach on anti-racist education. So I consider anti-racism both part of my work and part of my life. And so that's part of it too. I'm like, sometimes it's fun to bring a little bit of work with you that feels meaningful when you're trying to take a break. I'm also challenging myself to read a really kind of difficult novel with lots of footnotes and kind of, not light beach reading. So I feel challenged, but also get some downtime. And then I'm trying to do the reverse. When I'm working, also build downtime into that. So that's my follow-up on the work-life balance stuff. But I really also wanted to talk about goal setting because for my life, both my working life and my personal life, I'm a real big believer in goal setting. And if you have worked with me in any capacity or you know anything about me, then you know that about me. I make kind of daily goals and that I write a list of things I want to do in a day. Sometimes they're fun things, sometimes they are work things. I have kind of ongoing goals, so things I'd like to do sometime this year, things I'd like to do sometime this summer, and then long-term goals as well. Lots of you have, I've led workshops on this and I'm sure I will again, webinars and stuff about like smart goal setting and different things. And there's lots written about that. But I just want to talk to you about my own approach because I really think that there's something very satisfying to living a life where you feel like you are striving for excellence all the time. Excellence doesn't mean kind of capitalist productivity all the time. Excellence can mean whatever excellence you want to build in your life. So for me, in terms of excellence, one of my focuses for this year was just really developing a relationship with my kids. Hilariously, when I set goals last Rosh Hashanah, one of them was to spend more time with my kids. And then a pandemic happened and I have spent so much time with my kids, but really just trying to see the kind of joy and beauty and opportunity of that. But whatever area of your life you're working on, and I think that it's possible to work on several areas at once. For me, I set goals, but then I also immediately write down action items I can do towards that goal, like right now. So as an example, since I was talking about anti-racism, if your goal is to learn more about racism or the privilege of white skin or how you can show up for racial justice more. If that's your goal, that's a big goal. So it's like, how do I actually do that, and how do I know if I'm on track? So one day, actually, like what you could do today, this afternoon, where you could be like, I'm going to get started, is Google book about racial privilege and organization in my area. Like, is there a stand up for racial justice in my area? And follow like Ibram Kendi on social media, maybe, like, or one of, there are many awesome people working on anti-racism, particularly Black scholars, to follow. And that could be like one day's work, and that's all you've done, but you've put something in motion, right? And then as you create your next goal, you're like, okay, now I'm going to actually do, for example, the White Supremacy and Me book, the challenges. So that's something Secular Synagogue did. I've spoken about it before. It used to be a workbook that was available online. Now she's turned it into a book. It's by Layla Saad. So maybe it's like, I'm actually going to go through that and work on the prompts and do some reflection. So sometimes it's just about momentum, and you put something in motion and then it grows from there, and then momentum builds on momentum. So for me, if I'm like, yeah, I'm really enjoying following the goal, then it leads to another goal. So as a different kind of example in my life, I'm not really like naturally athletic. Also, if you know me, you probably know that, but I found kind of joy in different kinds of challenges. So I was part of a fitness group, and a bunch of people were running a 10K, and it's been years since I'd run a 10K, but I decided to do it, and that was a really good goal. But you can't start by running 10K. So first it was just like, run 2K, and then you kind of get some momentum behind you, and then you're like, okay. And then the first time I ran 5K in a while, I was like, ooh, that feels good, right? And then you kind of build up from there. And then I did the 10K, and I did another, and then I was like, what's next? And then I signed up for a triathlon, which sadly got canceled due to COVID, but I plan to do next year instead. So for me, it's just about like, how do you make a goal? So for me, the running goal was just to download an app that was a running app. That was the first step. I didn't even get off the couch that first day. And then setting small goals. Okay, I'm just going to start with that 2 kilometers, and then the next goal, and then the next goal, until you find yourself exceeding that goal and being like, oh, I can run a 10K. Can I do a triathlon? Can I do the next thing? And that's also what I do with my working life. So where I teach, I had a goal that I wanted to really kind of improve my classes and take the opportunity of COVID, because I'm teaching remotely for the first time, and like, how can I actually like do that well? And so I've done a ton of work. At first it was just about like Google apps for remote teaching, things that maybe I haven't been teaching from before. And then I set a next goal of kind of like setting up my course reading list so that I knew for sure that the students would have amazing resources to draw from through our course. And then I was like, you know what, I could use a little bit of tech help. So I booked a session with one of the tech help people, and it just like kind of builds from there. And now I have to tell you, I'm really excited about my year of remote teaching, because I think that I've actually transformed the content of the course to be really meaningful. And when we're in person again, I can still use all that stuff. So nobody likes where we are right now in terms of COVID, but there may be opportunities, time with your family, stuff you can work on for your work life, figuring out work-life balance stuff, maybe some athletic goals, whatever it is you're working on. And this might be an opportunity to kind of figure out what your goals are and even maybe exceed your expectations for yourself. If you want help, every year I put out a guide called Get Clear on Your Jewish Year. It's free. It'll be up on my website. And it's a goal setting guide. So I personally set goals 2 times a year with monthly check-ins. That's another part of goal setting. You got to keep yourself accountable. So around the Jewish high holidays, so that's coming up in about a month, Rosh Hashanah is the Jewish New Year. I set my kind of what I think of as like my big life goals in terms of like, who do I want to be in the world? What relationships do I want to foster? How can I make amends? How can I be more caring and just and have a lighter footprint on the earth? Those kinds of goals. In January, the goals I set are kind of more fun goals. Like this year, I want to go camping. That's one of my goals for this year. So that's how I do it. So I kind of separate out those two things. More kind of fun things are for January, and more kind of like, who do I want to be in the world goals are for September. So my Get Clear on the Jewish Year guide guides you through reflecting on the year that's passed, reflecting on where you are right now, and then reflecting on where you want to be in the year to come. And to me, every year is kind of an opportunity, because it's like you could do new things, you could be something else, you could let something go. I don't want to feel the same year after year. I want to always feel like I'm kind of evolving and growing. So that guide is up. And then this year, if you've been following me on social media or my email list, you probably know I have an Elul program. Elul is the Jewish month leading up to the high holidays. And I called it Engaged Living, Unlimited Love for Elul. And it's like the Get Clear guide, but on steroids. The Elul guide has stuff for, like, there's an amazing playlist to listen to all month to get your head in the right headspace. Still the kind of reflection prompts, text study, apps for yoga, meditation, different kinds of ways to get yourself feeling really primed, like feeling good before the Jewish New Year. So I'm really excited about it. Registration is open. If you go to secularsynagogue.com, there's a High Holidays Prep and Programming tab. Click there, find out more about the Elul program and what's going on for High Holidays for us. But if you're into goal setting, I think you're going to like the guide. So the Elul guide comes with the program, and the Get Clear on Your Jewish Year guide will be up on the website shortly. But however you goal set, I hope that you are meeting and crushing your goals. Wishing you a Shabbat Shalom. Take good care. Bye.